Just give it a few minutes and then we'll get started. All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this session today. My name is Anand. I'm from Wagento, and I'm really excited to be the moderator for the session. Today, we are going to tackle something that quietly eats into profits of manufacturers and distributors, and that's bad product data. It's one of those problems that doesn't particularly yell for attention, but leaves a mark on margins, on teams, and subsequently on customers. We're doing this as a fireside chat with extremely minimal deck, just to guide the conversation. But mostly it's just an honest chat with experts who've been there and done that. So I'll kick it off by introducing our two panelists. Marissa Beck from Sales Layer. She's the person who helps turn messy catalogs into conversion driving machines. She's also the sales account executive at Sales Layer and works with manufacturers to simplify their product data operations. And we also have Joe Shelton from Wagento. He's the guy you want on your side when systems refuse to talk to each other. He's the head of development at Wagento, and he leads PIM and e-commerce integrations for our global clients. Welcome.
Thanks, Anand.
To our panelists, if my Wi-Fi gets disconnected for some reason, just assume that I asked you a really difficult question, and then continue. And to our viewers, I know you probably will have a ton of questions during the session. There's a Q&A box at the bottom of the screen that opens into a pop-up. Please drop your questions in that, and then we'll tackle them towards the end. All right, Marissa, let's begin where all good tech conversations start with a buzzword. What exactly is a PIM, and what problem is it solving?
Yes. Hello, everyone. Thanks, Anand. Thanks for the intro. And thank you guys for having me today on this webinar. Very happy today to be telling you guys more about what a PIM is. So PIM stands for Product Information Management. So specifically, really what a PIM is here to do, it is a SaaS tool. So Sales Layer has a SaaS tool, multi-tenant, meaning everything is hosted in the cloud, meaning you can access it anywhere at any time. But really what the PIM can do for you is going to be to help you consolidate your product information, really create a one source of truth for your product catalog. The PIM also allows you to enrich your product information. So this is where you can add localizations if you guys are growing into other markets. This is where you can add your assets with your products. We do have a built-in DAM in our PIM system because we believe that assets and images and videos and marketing content should be right alongside your product description and your tech specs. And then this is also where we have some internal collaboration tools as well. So you can have multiple teams working on your product information. We know it's not just one person or one team doing the work. It's a collaborative effort to get your products out there. And so the PIM also helps to enrich your product information. And then once you have one central source of truth for your product information, you've got a place where you can make your products attractive. Then you have a place where you can connect and syndicate all your product information to. We have B2B functionalities. We'll cover that today. We also have places where you can connect to e-commerce sites, marketplaces. We have paper catalog creation, which is important for the B2B businesses also. So again, the PIM is there to help you connect things. So these three areas of focus is really what a PIM can do for your business.
That's great. So tell me, why is it suddenly that a PIM has become a must-have in the current B2B tech stack for manufacturers and distributors?
Yeah, so the reason that we're able to help a lot of businesses to manage their messy product data is because product data can be complex, right? And especially in the B2B space. So we understand that really we're all living through this digital evolution, right? As consumers, as businesses, and really what's happened, that B2C has really evolved and trickled and affected the B2B space, meaning customers now are everywhere and they want their product information immediately in real time. They want ease of use and being able to purchase their products. There was a study done recently that shows that nowadays a lot of consumers, they don't even want to deal with a rep or a team. They just want to be able to purchase on their own, right? Our consumers now in all businesses and in all industries are very independent. So what's happened with this digital evolution is that now people expect easy ways to be able to purchase products. And on top of it, how do consumers make purchasing decisions? Through product information. 75% of the decision making is based on product information. So it's essential to make sure that you actually have accurate product information, that you've got enriched product information so that your customers know what they're purchasing and so they could easily purchase from you. So here you're going to see some of the top 10 challenges that we're helping businesses in the B2B space. And we've built our PIM specifically to tackle these things. So again, we know that data silos are going to exist, right? Data is going to live in many places, in spreadsheets and Excel sheets and PDFs, in a marketplace, on a different website. And so we know that product information can get scattered. So we can help you with this. We know that it can be difficult to not be able to share your product catalog internally or externally. So we've got tools and ways that you can easily just export and share your product catalog internally or externally. We understand that if you can't make easy updates to your product information, you're going to have a longer product launch cycle. And so our PIM can help you increase that launch cycle as well for your product catalog. And then ultimately, really, the PIM is there to increase that product experience, right? It's not an ERP, it's not a CRM. It's there to make sure that you are increasing that product experience so that you can have brand consistency with your customers and your clients, meaning that you can be on all platforms, you can have the correct information on all digital platforms and to any end customer. So here are going to be some ways that we specifically have built the PIM to service those B2B challenges.
Wonderful. So how has Sales Layer tailored this solution specifically for the world of manufacturers and distributors?
Yep, absolutely. So one of the first things that where we stand out in the PIM vendor space is being able to customize and host many attributes. We understand that a lot of manufacturers and distributors, they might have up to 1,000 different attributes tied to one product, right? So we understand product complexity. So we have created a tool, one that is easy to use. We built it for non-technical users in mind. So we built it for the marketers, we built it for the product managers, we built it for the e-commerce team, so that you can just go in there and make changes to your pricing, add an image to your products, change your product description, right? So we've been able to find ways to be able to host catalog complexity so that you can make sure you're collecting all the technical specifications, you've got your marketing tied to your product information, and we've made it easy for you to specifically, I mean, I'll talk about it later, one of our B2B functionalities is going to be our instant catalog. We've been able to create a specific catalog that you can create per brand, per client, because we know that you're going to be dealing with different distributors, different suppliers that are going to have maybe different pricing, different product grouping. And so those are going to be, I think, probably some of the two ways that we've definitely make sure that we've got a PIM that can service those B2B challenges is ease of use, and then being able to quickly produce any kind of catalog per end customer.
Thanks, Marissa. That's super clear explanation. Now, moving on to you, Joe, let's talk about when a business knows it's time. At what stage should a manufacturer or distributor seriously start evaluating a PIM?
Sure. Well, when you've got, generally when you've got multiple departments and multiple audiences and uses for the tool is when you should start considering a PIM. We see, if you're a manufacturer, generally kind of the journey of your product data starts with engineers, and they're probably using some kind of ERP or very specialized tool for your particular industry to kind of manage kind of the initial birth of the product data. And then it often goes from there to fulfillment and customer service. And they might be using that same ERP, or they might be using some kind of an order management system, or maybe even a different ERP to kind of handle the logistics of fulfillment for your customers. And the marketing department has several places that they need to publish product data, kind of your customer facing places, your website or your catalog, procurement systems are kind of indirectly attached to that, to the marketing department, or maybe the sales department. Sales department is often using a CRM. So you've got these many different microservices, and you've got these departments that are kind of using them in isolation. And you want a PIM to be the place where you kind of bring it all together and implement kind of the logic behind that journey in a place that's centralized and common to the whole company, instead of those isolated microservices.
Right. And what are the typical signs that an organization knows that it's time to move beyond spreadsheets and PDFs and printed catalogs, sticky notes?
Yeah. Frustration with spreadsheets is your biggest red flag, because spreadsheets, they don't handle a high amount of people contributing to them very well, and they don't handle large amounts of data. If your product catalog is even a few thousand or tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of products large, you're going to find spreadsheets and other tools to be very frustrating to deal with that amount of data, and to get contributions from people from different departments becomes extremely difficult. A huge amount of friction on the process, and a product information manager can solve those problems.
Perfect. Okay, so now that we know when a PIM is needed, let's talk about what it does once it's in place, or how does a PIM stop your product team or your engineering team from starting another color-coded spreadsheet where only one person knows what those colors mean or how the products are categorized? I mean, how do you reduce those errors and improve consistency across the system?
A PIM like Sales Layer includes a number of automated ways to publish your product data, to kind of, first to enhance your product data. Once you get your data in, The initial job is enhancing the product data. And if that is a multi-departmental effort, you can create different, reports. You can show people different products, and you can identify the ways that the product data needs to be enhanced. If one department is responsible for, enhancing certain attributes, and a different department some other attributes, then you can create basically user roles for them that identify their particular, mission with the product data. And then there are, connectors that allow you to import and export that data in a very automated fashion, just kind of saving people from spreadsheets.
Great, great. And how does localization work? And I'm assuming organizations would want their information published across the borders, across countries. There are different languages, there are unit systems. Europe is on a metric system. The US uses some form of an imperial system inherited from the British. The British also use an imperial system. How do we reconcile information being available across geographies in Sales Layer?
Well, yeah, I mean, a product information manager is really, that's the best utilization of a product, of a PIM, is localization, because you're really, what you're doing there is you're multiplying your product data by the number of locales that you want to sell in. And that's a huge amount of data. You can imagine that spreadsheet, growing by 2, 3, 4 times. That's really unmanageable. So, a PIM is a perfect tool for that. It makes it really easy to, invite people from outside your organization to participate. Often your localizers might not be full-time employees within your organization,
Mm-hmm.
but whether the people doing the translations are within or external to your organization, it's very easy to get them contributing to the enhancement of your product data in this cloud platform. Certainly much easier than spreadsheets.
Great. Thanks, Joe. That's great reminder that, product data doesn't just affect the product or the engineering team. It affects how the products show up in the market, how the customers see the products. All right, Marissa, let's shift gears and talk about the engine behind it all. What sets Sales Layer apart from other PIM solutions in the market?
Yeah, so if you're starting to go through that search of saying, you know what, we think we're ready for a PIM, well, the PIM vendor space is really big, right? There's 200 plus businesses out there that call themselves a PIM. There might be 15 to 20 that are true PIMs, right? So a lot of times I tell the businesses that I'm working with, just Google us, and this is where this information is coming from. So really some of the main areas where we stand out in the PIM space, and we've been a global leader for honestly the past like 5 to 7 years. We've been around for 11 years. We've worked with over 400 plus global customers, right? So we do have this global presence, but here you can see the quality of support. That's going to be one of the main areas where we do stand out as a PIM vendor. And this is important because the other day I was talking to a business and they asked me if yes, we do have AI, but they asked if our support team was AI. And I said, nope, they are real people that help you solve real problems. So this is important because we understand that whenever you buy a SaaS tool, there is an implementation piece to it. This is why we have solution partners. There is an adoption piece to it. This is why we have the customer success team to help you with training. So again, quality of support is important because we care about the issues you might be facing whenever you're going through implementation. That's part of the process. Ease of use. So I made mention of this before. One of the reasons that we stand out in the B2B space is because we understand there's complexity with your product information, and we allow you to be able to customize your attributes and your product information however it is needed. It's easy to modify your taxonomy for your products. It's easy to navigate in the PIM because it's very visual. It has a very clear user interface. We built it for non-technical people. So again, ease of use is where we stand out as well. And then likelihood to recommend. So we're really proud of this because we have a 90+% retention rate with our customers because we've got got the support to help them, and our tool is easy. So again, like I mentioned, we do have we're in the excuse me, we're a grid leader for the mid-market. So something that is not on this slide is we are price competitive because we are servicing that mid-market space that is looking for those enterprise needs. They're wanting to scale as a business. And so we definitely know how to service the mid-market. We are price competitive. And lastly, most importantly, we are a leader in the PIM vendor space. We're recognized by Forrester and Gartner. You can see the G2 reviews. This is where you can find a lot of the reviews. And then also we are ISO compliant, which is essential. Not every PIM vendor is ISO compliant. We understand the responsibility in protecting your data. So I think these are going to be, I think this says a lot about how we can set ourselves apart as a PIM vendor.
Excellent. 90% likelihood to recommend. That's amazing. Yeah. All right. So let's come back to it. You mentioned a little earlier about the instant catalog. It sounds like an espresso shot for product data. Tell us about it.
Yes, yes, I like that. The espresso shot, because that's what it is. You get that instant hit of saying, "Hey, this is the catalog's ready. It's ready to go. I can now share it with my customer." So the instant catalog, it's built for that B2B purpose where you might have different groups of products, different pricing per brand, per catalog, or per end customer. So you can create an instant catalog for those suppliers, for those distributors that might be serviced in different ways. And so with the instant catalog, you can also add a shopping cart so that your customers, if they want, they can make purchases. There are no transactions that are happening, but they can send a request to your sales team to say, I want to purchase this product. In the instant catalog, it's there so that you can also just browse any kind of catalog, and it's a live link. It's like an e-commerce site. It's a live link into your PIM. So it's always up to date. It's automatically up to date as you are doing things in the PIM. So that live link into your PIM gives you that reassurance that the customer is able to purchase your latest version of your product catalog. So the instant catalog is by far one of our strongest B2B functionalities.
Great. Sounds very interesting to try out. And when you talk about your platform as a unit, as completely for how easy it is for non-tech users to go in and start working on their product catalog.
Yep, absolutely. So we understand that ease of use is going to be essential, because if you purchase something and then you don't use it, well, no one benefits from that, right? So we made sure to build the tool so that it is simple. We have an easy copy and paste, so you can just copy from an Excel sheet your product information, dump it into the PIM. It auto-populates those fields for you. Once you get your product information imported into the PIM, you can easily go in there. Only certain users can do this, but you can easily go in there and make quick edits to some of the attributes, to some of the fields, right? So we made it to where you can easily modify your product information, your taxonomy behind your product catalog. And so that easy import and copy and paste into the PIM, being able to easily enrich and modify information, and then the syndication side of things. So we'll talk about this in a second, but we've got those easy out-of-the-box connectors for some of those big e-marketplaces and e-commerce site, so that you can easily syndicate your product information as well.
All right, great. So we've built the system. Joe has cleaned the data. We've officially pressed the PIM button. Let's talk results, because if data doesn't drive sales for manufacturers and distributors, why are we here, right? So how does this structured, clean data impact revenue?
Yeah, so that's an important question, right? Because why would you invest in a tool that isn't going to ultimately make you competitive, isn't ultimately going to drive results, right? So here you're going to be able to see that we've got real gains with our customers that we work with. So as I mentioned before, numbers don't lie. So these numbers are coming directly from case studies with our customers. So if you have all your product information in one place, then you're going to have faster catalog creation as well. So we've got Adobe InDesign plugins and easy catalog plugins, because as I mentioned, print catalog and digital catalogs. That's essential for a lot of our B2B businesses. And so we can help you create catalogs faster. One example with one of the clients we were working with, it took them 2 months to be able to create one catalog, and we got that down to 2 weeks, right? So catalog creation is an area we can excel, lower maintenance cost. And so we have a team of engineers that are keeping track of our PIM tool. We also have our solutions partners that are there to provide with assistance on just overall maintenance of the tool as well. And so we can have lower maintenance cost because we are providing the support for you. Quicker product launches. Again, if you are able to have marketing, content, translation team, design team, everyone working on a product, then you're going to see faster results on being able to launch your products. Overall, we noticed that many customers, and I'll reference another slide as well that shows this, we notice an increase in team productivity within a 66 to 80% increase in operational efficiency, and then also our onboarding. So we do have some of the fastest onboarding in the PIM vendor space, which makes sense because ease of use. Our tool is not as complex as maybe other tools. To be able to summarize some of these numbers, what's most important is that real gains, our PIM can ensure that 100% accuracy of product information in real time, which is the true purpose of a PIM. So here are some real gains for you.
Excellent. Those are some good numbers. You spoke a little earlier about a DAM, a digital asset management system. Why did you guys build that, and how does it plug into the rest of the product catalog?
Yep, absolutely. So we do have a digital asset management tool, and it's already built into the PIM, right? It's not an add-on service because we understand the importance of clean product data. And we think that your assets should absolutely live in the same place as your product description, as your technical specifications, as your pricing. And so, yes, our DAM capability is already built into the PIM. You can store your assets into the PIM in different folders to help you stay organized. You can connect through an external sync with maybe if you already have your assets somewhere else in a binder or in a different folder, we've got an external sync to where you can connect the PIM with that external folder. You can say how often you want to import those assets into the PIM. We also have advanced image linking with our DAM, meaning if you have the reference in the naming convention of an asset, whenever you just drag and drop that asset into the PIM, it will locate the product that it should be linked to. And so we've got many things for our DAM capabilities, and also any kind of file, technical drawings, cat drawings, any kind of movie file, any kind of file you can also upload into our PIM as well for those marketing assets to be with your product information.
Excellent. That's really amazing. All right, let's just shift the conversation a little. Since no tech conversation today is complete without bringing up AI, let's just go there for a minute. What's Sales Layer doing with AI right now?
Yes, so you are right. We cannot have a conversation, especially if we are in the SaaS world, without mentioning AI. So we understand that we all need to be braced for that change. As I mentioned before, we're all a part of this digital evolution. So AI is definitely going to be a focus for Sales Layer. So we currently already have AI in our tool in the enrich side of things. So you already have the ability in our PIM to be able to utilize AI ChatGPT to be able to enrich the description. So if you have an attribute that's long text or short text, you can use the AI functionality to be able to enrich the description. It creates an SEO friendly description for your product information. But then as well, what we have on the roadmap, so you can see here that a PIM analyst at Forrester has already been mentioning that Sales Layer is one of the leaders in the AI space. And so what we have on the roadmap is the way to be able to automate generation around ultra personalized content. So again, we understand that every region, every territory, every country, every specific customer, they might have different versions of product descriptions or just different versions of information, right? On what you call a t-shirt or a tool in different areas. So not only do you have that ability to be able to enrich the product description, but we're going to have the ability to where you can say, if we're selling in Canada, we only want this product to be called this versus North American English, right? So you're going to be able to personalize the content so that the version and the text behind those products makes more sense per region, per territory, per customer. We're also going to have automatic error detection. So we already have a quality report that's going to measure the completeness of your fields and your attributes. So you can make sure that all the product information is filled out before a product is exported out of the tool. But we're also going to have errors. So we're going to be able to say if if you added a 10%, let's say you added a formula to a certain group of products that was supposed to calculate 10% off of the actual price, the AI can also detect if there was an error with maybe the calculation, right? So there's going to be error detection within your PIM as well, because one of the main purposes of a PIM is to increase that product accuracy. And then also being able to create automatically categorization and attribute mapping as well. So that is also going to be on the roadmap for our AI enhancements.
Wonderful. That was actually going to be my next question. What's on the roadmap? But I'm glad you answered it. All right, let's move on. Moving on to integrations, a word that brings joy to solution architects and literally cold sweats to everyone else in the business side of an implementation. And to you, Marissa, what systems does Sales Layer connect with natively out of the box?
Yep, exactly. So being able to integrate is going to be essential. Now, this is also why we have, a network of partners, because yes, we do have out of the box connectivity. So you can see here, we've got marketplaces, we've got Google Shopping, we have Amazon API. We also have out of the box connectors for e-commerce. So WooCommerce, BigCommerce, Shopify, Magento. And then we also have some of those B2B tools as well. So for the marketplaces and the e-commerce that we have out of the box, there is a simple plug and play as well. But what you don't see here is going to be our Open REST API. So this is as well where you need to have some of those engineers or solutions partner be able to create that connectivity so that it can be customized to connect with what you already have in your tech stack as well. And then we have some of the B2B tools, which the CSV file, the Excel templates, those are essential as well. So you don't have to, you only have to do the mapping once, and then you already have that template for, maybe it might just be like a Walmart site, or it might be a distributor A, distributor B, right? So you've got those CSV or Excel templates. The B2B catalog, that's the instant catalog that we talked about before. And like I mentioned, print and digital catalogs are important, which is why we have InDesign and Easy Catalog also. So these are going to be the out-of-the-box connectors that we've got within our PIN.
Great. Okay. Joe, tell us, how easy is it to take Sales Layer and plug it into an e-commerce platform like Magento or an equivalent system?
Yeah, the out of the box connectors that Sales Layers offers have made life really easy for us. And I can attest to there being real people in the support department at Sales Layer, because we've leaned on them pretty hard. And here at Wagento, we do a lot of Magento implementations, and particularly one of our mutual projects, the client wanted a lot of functionality, a lot of additional functionality in that connector, and we contacted Sales Layer, and Sales Layer was able to add all of the functionality that was requested, and even more importantly, on the timeline for the project, like that functionality was requested and added before we launched that project. And that, from an implementer's standpoint, that's way better service than we get from other service providers. So just wanted to give a big public thank you to Marissa and her team for that. And we've found we've integrated with other e-commerce systems and other ERPs and things of that nature as well. And we found the pre-built connectors to be very functional. They make our job very easy. And they also have, APIs and automated CSVs. If there's not a pre-built connector, there are common ways to connect to other systems that will be easily recognizable by the tech teams on either side of that connection.
Great. All right, moving on with implementation. Marissa, what should teams at manufacturers expect during an implementation? How do you get buy-in from employees, and how do you keep the momentum going?
Yeah, so obviously, there's well, whenever it comes to overall implementation, we know that there's going to be some hesitation, right? We understand that um, our tool is going to need to integrate with other tools that you already have in your system. So whenever I'm working with businesses, we understand that you have to build that internal case to make sure that this is a tool that will be accepted at the business and that it's a tool that will bring you results. And so here, these are going to be some businesses that we've worked with that went through that same process, right? They had that hesitation, didn't know if it was the right tool for them, and ultimately we were able to drive results for them. So here, what I can show you is that in being more operational, right? Today's webinar is really based around fixing product data errors that cost you margin. So in one way or another, you're already making costly decisions if you do not have a PIM in your system. And so here you can see multiple examples of businesses that were able to take the leap. They were able to add a PIM into their operational workflow, and they were able to produce some of these results. So for Bragg, for an example, we were able to help them replace 5 hours of Excel work with 1 hour working in Sales Layer, right? So for B2B, we were able to increase their catalog creation from 60 days to 2 weeks. So down below, you could see for Ardessa, we were able to improve overall work performance, and 25% of their time was saved daily in doing manual tasks or maybe manual errors, right? And so ultimately, know that we are here to one, build that internal case for you, lean on us to give you here at Sales Layer to give you case studies to show you that other businesses have taken the leap and made those implementation and have been able to get results from being able to implement a PIM. So lean on Sales Layer to be able to create those internal cases with you. We have an ROI calculator as well to help you calculate some of those numbers for you. We even allow you sometimes to speak to some of these customers as well. So we understand that there will be initially some hesitation, but let us support you with that so that ultimately we can drive results together.
Excellent. That's amazing. Coming to you, Joe, what's a realistic timeline to integrate Sales Layer into a platform like Magento?
Yeah, realistic timelines, they definitely scale with the amount of data that you have. If you're, a company with 100,000 products, that's going to differ from a company with 1,000 products. But 3 months is a good place to start for, a reasonably sized catalog. We're gonna start with a phase of kind of just defining your product data and making sure your different departments agree on how data should be represented. And then we move on to importing that data into Sales Layer. And then from there, we move on to automated export of that data into your various systems and catalogs.
All right. So is it easier to build an integration into an existing e-commerce platform, or do you think it's easier if the customer is starting with a clean slate, a brand new system, building from the scratch, from the ground up?
It is easier to go to the clean slate is easier. That way, product data exports from Sales Layer to the clean slate system very easily. What we see a lot when you're integrating with an existing system is you've got product data that has been in isolation a little bit, and it's kind of grown organically. And we see these problems where that initial sync of data maybe some stuff is getting overwritten that you didn't want it to happen, or maybe similar products are not finding each other and duplicate products are being created. These are all things that can be, small problems that can be resolved by your implementer, and Sales Layer is able to give you even a sandbox environment that would allow you to, will overcome those problems before your product data is live. But that's what we see when we're implementing projects.
Okay, all right. Marissa, from Sales Layer's side, how do you guide teams through the onboarding and overcoming some of those internal hurdles?
Yeah. So what's so nice about Sales Layer is that we're really transparent throughout the whole sales journey. And why do I say this? Well, we give you access to our tool. We give you 30-day trials because we know that you're going to have to test things out, right? There is a little bit of a trial and error to this. So we give you free trials. We go through POCs with our solutions partner. We create a POC so you can see your product information in the PIM tool. So we make sure, and like Joe mentioned, we've got that staging environment as well so that you can test things out. So we know that there is going to be a little bit of that training in the beginning and really testing the tool so that ultimately you can make sure that the PIM that we are providing you is really the PIM that's going to meet your business needs. So being able to test the tool before you actually have to make that decision, I think is going to be a really great way of being able to just tackle some of those initial challenges in the beginning.
All right, great. Let's talk a little bit about data fragmentation and the fun part, legacy data. Joe, for companies with fragmented data and outdated systems, running a mainframe or some data in an older system, how do they even start putting it all together?
You start with, you've got data that becomes fragmented because your different departments wanted to work with that data in isolation. That's kind of that's the microservices architecture that is dominant today with information technology. So all of your departments might have different systems and product data, even though it's for the same products. It grows organically, it grows differently for different purposes. So the first, let your implementer guide you through a process of sitting down with your departments and really defining what is the product schema that we all agree on, what are the attributes that we all can agree on, and kind of having that conversation arbitrated by your implementer, and getting people into a PIM like Sales Layer where it's common ground, getting them out of their isolated systems. That's kind of the initial complication that you confront, but it's made easier by adding a system like a PIM that is new and that people can all come and meet there and kind of agree on how we're going to go forward with our product data.
Okay, great. So a lot of these projects tend to get very, very messy. Any data transformation project is inherently very messy because there are a lot of stakeholders vying for attention. Every department needs are different, and stakeholders inside those departments will be trying to, basically get what they want out of the implementation. How do we reconcile that?
Well, generally, you want to get them together. You want to show them the features of the PIM. You want to make sure they're talking to each other, and most importantly, understanding that there's some parts of your product catalog that it's good to stay in isolation, and there's other parts that are good to kind of make universal in the PIM, make it agreed upon by everyone. Because that way you get the best of both worlds. You get departments that are still able to use product data in the way they want, and not have to ask other departments for permission for how we're using it, right? Because your other departments are probably likely still going to use their systems. But then you also have, from the company's perspective, kind of a global control over the product data and one place to go to understand what is the state of this product data. Has it made it through engineering? Has it made it through fulfillment and customer service? One place to go to figure out what is the state of your product data and make sure that all of your company's policies regarding product data have been implemented and followed.
All right, great. Wonderful. Let's wrap this up with a lightning round of wisdom. Starting with you, Marissa, in 2 minutes, tell us, what advice would you give a manufacturer who are just getting started with their PIM journey?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say that, first of all, understand that there are many businesses that are also trying to overcome this challenge with product information. So we understand that it can be overwhelming. And so really, like Joe was mentioning whenever he was talking about implementations and timelines, let the PIM be a part of that data cleansing. So the reason that our PIM helps everyone be more efficient is because they can visually see all the product catalog. They can visually see the errors. And so let the PIM be a part of that data cleansing process because it needs to start somewhere, right? So with a lot of businesses, that I work with, and sometimes it's manufacturers that have been around for over 100 years. It's difficult for them to understand sometimes the simplicity behind the PIM tool. So let the PIM be a part of that data journey, of that product journey, so that you can really eliminate those silos and you can really create that one source of truth, right? AI implementations, that's only waiting for us and it's only going to continue to impact our day to day. So if you don't have a PIM to host your product information, how are you going to implement AI functionalities, or how are you going to implement other tools to really help you advance and continue to evolve with this digital evolution? So understand that yes, it can be overwhelming, but many businesses as well are overcoming these challenges by utilizing a PIM so that they've got a foundation for their digital evolution of their business. And so, yeah, I think that would be a good word of advice as well. And here again, to add to the advice, I wanted to leave a little bit of advice and then a little bit of inspiration, right? So this is going to be a customer, and if you grab your phone, you can scan the QR code, and this will route you to their website, and you can see how they've been able to organize all their product information. They've utilized our PIM to be able to help them manage their 1,600 products. Emuka was trying to also having to manage like over 5,000 plus variants with their products as well. So they really loved how our PIM was able to help them easily categorize their variants, their categories, their subcategories of product information. They were Amuka's, and it's global, and so they were expanding it to different territories. And so something essential for them was being able to use our multi-language functionality to be able to translate their products into 8 different languages. Here you can see they absolutely used our PIM for the digital asset side of things. So they were hosting 17,000 images, 5,000 files, and because they had one place to be able to host all their information after 40 years of experience, they started to grow digitally, and because of our PIM, they were able to continue to grow to different channels. So they were able to, with our PIM, connect to 16 different distribution channels. So I leave this here as a little bit of inspiration as well.
That's a great case study. Thank you, Marissa. Joe, closing remarks for those companies who feel too disorganized to even begin this journey. What would you say to them?
Yeah, the implementation. The biggest thing we see holding back implementations is just that the people handling product data care about it so much that they don't. That when it comes time to put it into the PIM, they're worried about the level of enhancement. They're worried about, oh my God, we've got 1,000 products on this list that don't have prices yet, and we've got descriptions that came from the engineers here, and we don't want that to get public. So they stop and they consider the enhancement level of the data before they just put it into Sales Layer. So best advice I can give on maintaining the timeline of a project is just you want to get that data, no matter how incomplete it is, get that into a PIM like Sales Layer. And that should be one of the main reasons that you're paying for a PIM, is because the tools for enhancement are better there. You will be able to get those prices in there and those descriptions. You'll get more contribution from more people faster. So don't stop to consider the state of your data before just pushing it in, and then learn the tools that a PIM has that allows you to enhance that data.
Amazing. Amazing insights. Thank you, both of you. This has been an enlightening conversation. Let's take a few questions. From Tina, can you export to XML?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can export to XML, CSV. Yes, you can.
Okay, wonderful. From Sunil, is the product available to install on a company's isolated cloud or an on-prem server to Marissa? Is this a purely SaaS product, or do you allow on-prem installations?
Yeah, so actually I would I'm Joe, keep me accountable here, but I believe yeah, we're just going to be a SaaS solution. So I'm not sure, Joe, whenever it comes to maybe connecting with other internal tools that would be on-prem, but we are
Okay.
strictly a SaaS solution hosted in the cloud. But Joe, would you know?
I have not dealt with that use case yet. We should probably follow up with your support department to see if they can kind of isolate onto a VPN an instance of Sales Layer. So I don't know either, but that's a great question.
Yeah, so then let's
Great
follow up.
question.
That's a great question. We'll make sure we
Yeah,
follow up.
wonderful. What are smart validations from Tina?
Yeah, so smart validations, this is again, remember the PIM is there to ensure that accuracy around your data. So validations can be fields that are mandatory. So you could say this field is mandatory before it needs to be exported. You could say that this field needs to be within like certain character count, certain numbers. There might be certain rules tied to a specific attribute. So the validations you can add to any field or attribute to make sure that you are ensuring that accuracy around your product. It can be around like compliance as well. So you can do many things with our validations.
Great. The DAM, the digital asset management tech, how does it automatically find the product it should be linked to?
Yep,
You
that's
were
a
talking about that briefly.
Mhm. Yep. So
Mhm.
that's going to be the advanced image linking. So if you have in the naming convention of the asset any type of reference, so if it's like product ID 123, and then in the naming convention of the asset, product name 123, image ABC, right? Depending on how you edit that, as long as you've got some reference in the naming convention of the asset, then it will automatically link to that product. So there are many ways that you can manipulate the naming conventions so that asset and product information can be linked.
Okay, great. Next question. Can you create approval workflows? And is there a dashboard to see what's in process, what's pending for approval, and so on?
Yep, so this is a feature I can tackle that. So we definitely have role permissions so that every user is going to have a different experience in the PIM. So there will be an admin that can say who can edit, who can view, who can modify. But then we also have workflows as well, so that if you've got marketing that first has to upload certain assets to product information, then once they are done, then the content team can get signaled to work on the product as well, then design, then translation, right? So we do have those workflows, so you can add those addition teams so that once one team is done working on a certain set of the product, then the other team is notified that they are ready. And we also have supervisor and approval access as well, so that once all teams have worked on the product, then there's an approval of the supervisor that product is ready to go live.
Wonderful. Next question. Can we set up templates for product types that have different set of attributes like clothing versus eyewear or collectibles?
Yeah, you can. I'll jump in there. Yeah, absolutely. You've got product families, and you can, isolate for your enhancers, whoever's working with the data, just the attributes that are appropriate for a certain type of product family. Absolutely, you can do that.
Thanks, Joe. A follow-up question regarding the smart validations. why are there limits to smart validations? Did you get that?
Specific limits. So there shouldn't be limitations on validation. So we do have certain validations. Like if you go to our website and then saleslayers.com and then you go to pricing, there will be certain sets of validations like per license packages. But again, that's always something that we can look at. But technically within the actual validation, there are no limitations there.
Okay, thanks. I think we're out of time and we're going to wrap up here, everyone. So to summarize, centralizing product data is no longer a luxury. It's a competitive advantage. The right PIM system improves speed, accuracy, and collaboration. And with the right partner, implementation does not have to be painful or difficult. We'll be making this webinar recording uh, available to all of the attendees. So if you'd like to explore next steps, you can book a free discovery session with Wagento by scanning the QR code that you see on the screen, or even request a personalized demo with Sales Layer. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. And remember, clean data is healthy margins. Have a good day, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.